Grab you a cup of coffee, and today we are going to be talking about how your teens can take babysitting or their desire to grow up and do a career in childcare and turn those into high school credits right now while they're already in high school. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today. I am really enjoying this series of where we are taking things that your teens are already passionate about or already know the path that they want to go for after high school when they start becoming adults on their own, and take those and turn them into classes right now while they're in high school. And in some cases, like the ones that we've been following right now, these are ones that they can actually use to obtain jobs while they're in high school if that's the path your family does. I'll go ahead and preface for our family personally, that's not really what we do, but there's also several reasons why our kids having part-time jobs while at home is not profitable right now while we have 4. It's something we may look at later whenever we have just 2 in high school. But I know some families that like this is where you are, and this is where you are with your kids of like they want to work, they want to earn some money on their own, but they also really want to get those high school credits in and to finish their classes. And I mean, I understand totally. I have kids who are, and one of the reasons why we don't do a lot of like looking towards part-time jobs right now is our kids are so involved in church, and with them being so involved in church, and they actually do have some side jobs. I will preface that. We do dog sitting, we do house sitting, we do some light babysitting, so it's just not like a part-time, steady part-time job that they have right now. But we get it because our kids being so plugged in with like activities at church and things they do, plus their schoolwork, plus home life, plus a healthy social life, it's really hard to like do everything. So when you have 8 classes a year and homeschooling, the classes are year round, and then you've got all that on top of it, it can be really overwhelming. So why not give your kids high school credit for the stuff that they're doing outside of normal school hours? So we're going to be talking about that today. If you want to see the one like in general for jobs, go ahead and look at last week's video or the homeschooling video before this. I'll try to link it, and I may do like a series link on some of these videos together. If I can remember when I upload this one, I will be doing that. Today though, I wanted to just focus on babysitting, because if you look right here, you can see that babysitting is its own specialty track. So we're going to go up here to the top. There it is. Sorry, when I have the screen like this, I sometimes forget how to do it. And we're just going to type in turning babysitting into credit. These classes are different though. They are going to be, there's some of the classes will overlap from the video last week, but overall, these classes are going to be a little bit different than the just in general jobs. And there's a couple more coming up that have some specialty classes too. We mentioned those last week, but yeah, the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at specialty ones. So let's look at some of these specialty ones and see what they look at realistically. So again, what I do is I've already got it typed out, printed out, so I can just copy and paste over to here. And if you're listening to this in like podcast style, which you guys let me know in the comment, like seriously let me know in the comments. Apparently now I can upload videos as a podcast for if people want to just listen to these instead of just having them on to watch. Let me know if that's something you guys are actually interested in. I personally, where I am right now, I don't really have a lot of time to listen to podcasts because I have 4 kids and a husband and dogs and lots of things going on. But like, I know some people do. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. If that is, that's something I could apparently very easily do. But for now, I'm going to be talking while showing you things. So like I said, I already have it done over here or on one screen, and then I'm going to transfer it to the other. So literally the first thing right here, we're going to title it right here. I like still putting the title at the top because I kind of feel like that helps me to focus back on what I'm doing. And if you guys know, sometimes I don't focus very well. And if you're new, hi, my name is Leisha. I've been homeschooling 15, years. My oldest 2 are graduating this year. We've been homeschooling since preschool. We've had children in and out of our house as a ministry to help support families along the way. We've been doing it since year 1 of our marriage. So like I've been exposed to, I've helped tutor kids. I've helped my own kids through school. This is from my own personal experience and also working with other homeschool families. What I prefer to do is when I'm doing these, I put I did this wrong. I prefer to put the title top, then I put the class name, and we're going to put the name of the actual class that you can find. You can literally Google search any of these classes and find free or paid resources to teach your child. Which where we are right now in this economy, that I'm not laughing because the economy, there's a joke with that. My husband and I know, but in this economy, I get that like homeschooling, one of the reasons why some people are so scared to do it is because cost. You can actually use free homeschooling resources. That is a legal way of homeschooling. In some states, they will require you to do some more legwork if you're doing free stuff, but you can actually use free resources from the internet to teach your kids. And then the study section right here, this is where we're going to put a description of what that class needs to contain to be able to do this. Again, like I said, I've worked with homeschool counselors. I have had 2 umbrella schools in my time. I know what these classes need to contain for your kids to be able to take these and turn them into legitimate credits. So the other thing we're doing right here, if you saw this spot that we're missing right here, that's slightly behind my camera right now, is we're going to put the year numbers. Now, I'm not saying if you don't start from freshman year, you cannot do this. No. This is if you are starting at freshman year, because some schools like ours, they prefer as soon as your child reaches that first day of the winter semester, or, first week of January, second week of January, that you already have a tentative plan for high school, all the way through high school. So for our family, what we do is we sit down and look at these tracks before they even start high school. If you're already in high school, you probably could skip some of these classes. This is just a general how to keep on a specific track if you're starting from scratch. If you're looking for some classes to just fill in and your child's already taken maybe some of these classes, or maybe they haven't, and maybe they, their junior year decided, I really want to shift to childcare. These are still some informative classes that you could still plug in. And depending on what your child's classes look like, junior and senior year, you could probably take 2 of these at the same time with this track. So, but let's go ahead and look at this. So year 1, if you're starting from year 1, and again, like I said, if you're not starting your freshman year, these are just in general classes that you can use. But year 1, we are going to be putting family and consumer science. Now, most people my generation or older know what family consumer science is, because it used to be required in school, or like in our school, like they were phasing out the requirement of it. And most people just took it as a filler class because they didn't have anything else to do. But in homeschooling, family and consumer science is actually a life skills class that you can legitimately take, that you want to train your children on how to live life as adults. Because the biggest complaint that colleges actually are saying nowadays, and I've talked to a homeschool counselor who puts homeschooling kids into the college that she works at, like she's specifically a counselor at a college who helps homeschool kids enroll. She said the number one complaint, homeschooling, public school, private school, whatever, of kids enrolling in college nowadays is they don't know how to take care of themselves. That's like seriously, that's the number one concern, is that they know kids today entering college no longer know how to take care of themselves, how to take care of other people, how to respect other people. And so now like they're like, okay, maybe we need to rethink how we're doing this high school prepping for college or career that we're doing in school. So some places are probably going to start seeing a revamp of family and consumer science classes. So what is family and consumer science? It is a class where you build a foundation talking about what childcare, for specifically the babysitting track. You can change this if you're not doing babysitting and can do it as life skills. I may, after we get back from our Disney trip and I start making more podcast style ones for over the summer, talk about life skills tracks, because that recently came up at our local homeschool group of what does life skill track look like for IEP students who just are not going on to college, that want to just go straight into career, and students who are struggling with some of those life skills. And just spitballing this out here from talking to some people without revealing, names or anything like that. Life skills track is also a great one if you have adopted kids, foster kids, kids who have been through trauma, things like that. Life skills track can be a great skills for them. So you can change this, but specifically under the babysitting family consumer science, it is to build a foundation talking about what childcare is and how to meet the needs of the family in a safe way. So here's where we're going to put my next favorite point, because number one, this video is going on the internet, and number two, we live in a very dangerous world sometimes. We're going to use this class to also talk about boundaries. Now, what do I mean by that? Just when I say that family and consumer science is talking about how to care for the child and also the family itself, that doesn't mean that if the parents of a child you're babysitting ask you to do something that is not safe or outside of your comfort zone, that you have to do it. And unfortunately, we live in a world where teens need to be told, whenever you start babysitting, you may just have to say no, or hey, you may have to say, okay, I babysat for them once, but there was something just about this family in this house that I went to. I don't really feel comfortable going back. Then it's okay to say, I'm not going back. And unfortunately, that's something that we have to talk about with our kids nowadays. Family consumer science, again, you're going to be building a foundation. You're using it to start the basis of what is childcare? How do I care for these children? What does it look like to be in another family's home? And another thing that I mean about this is some people get this idea of, when I'm babysitting, I'm in charge and it's my rules. Oh, well, their kids are allowed to skip vegetables. That's not a rule that I allow. No, you cannot go. When you are childcare, you're not a nanny. You are not a paid nurse. You're not anything like that. You are there to minister to the parents, and you're there to minister to the children. And another thing that I talk about with my kids, like one of the things I emphasize when we're house sitting or babysitting is, if it was me and I was trusting somebody with my kids, I would not want to hire a babysitter that as soon as I get back home, there's toys everywhere, the sink is full of dishes, the counters are dirty. Like, that's kind of what I mean of working together with families. You're not there to just play with the kids and then peace out. Because personally, me, if that were to happen, I probably wouldn't rehire the babysitter if like they left my house completely trashed but my kids were still taken care of. That's just kind of where I am. So that's kind of what I mean by that. Again, family consumer science, go through curriculums online. There's paid resources, there's free resources. Sit down with your teen and look through classes and be like, hey, is this something you would be interested in? And also what I mean by that of like working with your kids is, if you have a visual student, don't find a curriculum that's so book heavy that they're not going to be interested in the class, but also find one that may be a visual, but it's not just complete. It's not just fun school. It's actual still teaching your students. Once they have the foundation of family and consumer science, and they have the foundation of what you want your child to learn for the basic building blocks for starting looking at any career that you are taking care of children, then for year 2, you're going to do what I would consider the next important step is. And some people, you may want to fill a different class, but this is where I am personally, and I have actually went through this class with my kids. It is nutrition and food. Now, what is nutrition and food class? This class is food safety when caring for people in different environments. And some other emphasis that you can do for this class is teach to be aware of food allergies and cross-contamination. So if you look on our channel right now and you Google or you search on our channel, which you can do that on the desktop. I don't know if you can do that on mobile, but if you search our channel and just go through our homeschool playlist, we do have a class review where we talked about my teens taking nutrition science class and the curriculum that we used to teach that class. And again, it actually was a free resource with, it had the written out, it had slideshows, it had videos already given for you, it had lab assignments. It was a very detailed class, and it's taught in a way from a perspective of your child has to decide what is actually the best for them. One of the things that it does is it compares veggie burgers versus all beef burgers. It talks about canning. It talks about pasteurization. It talks about and one of the biggest things of why I love this class, and you could just do this portion of the class and nothing else if you want to. One of the other reasons why I consider nutrition and food when I was setting this specific class credit up was there is a section of that nutrition and food class where all you do is go through what they call the journey of the lifespan, and it starts with birth and or no, it starts with pregnancy and how to help pregnant women, what they need to take, vitamins, nutrients, what they need for help. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes one of the things that some girls will look at when they get into high school is called what's called a mommy helper, where you may be coming in and it's a pregnant woman who may be on bed rest. And so it teaches you like how you can help prepare food for people when they're pregnant and what vitamins they need. And then it moves on to infancy, toddlerhood, young elementary age, older elementary age, teen years. And it goes through the entire lifespan and teaches you like what vitamins are the essential vitamins needed for this growth span. What does an average serving look like? You could just go and focus on those, because one of my teens who helps volunteer with children said that was actually what I considered the most valuable resource from this class, was being able to have this pamphlet now that says, okay, here's some goals that I should have when caring for other people, whenever I'm helping care for elderly, some things that I could maybe encourage to help them to stay healthy. It also covered like activity level that's normal for those age groups. So that's the reason why I specifically added that. But also, again, like I put on here, some teens, if you don't grow up in a home with food allergies, which nowadays, like almost every home has food allergies, it feels like ours does, they need to know that food allergies and cross-contamination are a thing. Like in our house, whenever we have tomato and dairy in the same meal, I am highly allergic to tomato. There's only a few foods that I can have that have tomato with them and under special circumstances. I also have one that's lactose free. And so we have to have those in separate places while we're prepping food and while we're eating food and serving food. So those are things that your teens, if they are not in a home like that, they need to be made aware of and learn how to deal with those circumstances. So once we've done family consumer science for our foundation, and then we have talked about like nutrition and food and how to deal with food prepping while you're in these circumstances. Now that we are in our junior year, our 11th grade year, we are going to be doing the child development class. So here is where your teen can actually start earning money and getting paid for it and receive high school credit at the same time. So for this class, the first thing you can do is start supervised babysitting. And if you're helping to supervise or another adult is helping to supervise, their goal is to teach your child how to actually care for a smaller child. Now, for some people that have bigger families, this may be something that you're already doing in your home. Your teens may have grown up helping other children. And the other reason why this is still a good class to do and to have these conversations with it, and this is something that I would encourage, is if your teen wants to do this, I would highly encourage as part of your work for the class, that if you want like work, like written out work to go with the class, or if like you live in a state that you have to have some kind of physical proof that you did the class, I would highly encourage doing journaling of, okay, this is the child I babysat, this was their age, this was their needs, notes that I learned from doing this, or things that I learned from caring for this child, or things that I need to know. Because like even and I'm fixing to cover this too, of options for ways that you can do supervised babysitting for this class is, the first one I have on here is church nursery. So as a nursery director, one of the things that I do is when I will go in between Sunday school and church starting and wait for my workers for that day, I immediately turn over information of this is what happened last week, this is what this child needs this week, this is the development that they have this week, they're starting to do this is what their favorite comfort zone is, this is their favorite toy while they're in nursery, these are some needs that the mother expressed that they needed. So like that's actually a thing that like, most people do. And like whenever you're in daycare, like the parents want to know, what did the child do? When did they last sleep? When did they last eat? So having that journal as they're going through this child development class is not a bad idea, because this will kind of prep them for later on whenever they need to pass that information along to parents. Another way that you can also do paid supervised care, which church nursery is not paid. It's just a supervised option for your child. And also, like if you wanted to, child development, in Tennessee, they have what's called the Tennessee Promise, where you have to do volunteer hours to earn a scholarship. church nursery actually qualifies for that, because if you do serve 2 times in a month, which what we do right now with our teens is they'll serve like once in nursery and once in kids church in 1 month, and not like, in the nursery twice a month. Then we give them, I give them credit for volunteer hours because they have volunteered their time for it. But a paid one that you can do is like a mommy helper program, or again is a volunteer hour one. You don't necessarily have to do paid for child development. This is building blocks to lead up to getting paid for doing some of these classes. And again, the goal of this is to have a way where they can earn some money but also be getting high school credit. But again, also, like I said, if they were looking at volunteer hours, here's some ones. Mommy helper programs. I'm in so many groups of homeschool families where sometimes there's a mom that either she's pregnant and she already has 1 or 2 little ones, and she's now on bed rest. There was one recently where a mom had to have surgery, and she still had like an under 6-week-old and a toddler, and she just needed somebody to come in a couple of hours a day to help with them while she was recovering from a pretty major surgery, while having a under 6-week-old baby. So again, like mommy help programming, you might just be able to connect your child with some other homeschool families that the parents of, that you can go and take your child to help out. And sometimes that's paid and sometimes it's not. Another option that you can also work with your church or with other people that is doing supervised after school care and or tutoring. And again, this will be based on like your child's level or what's available in your area. I personally have found, and there's several people who've written books about homeschooling that have found that homeschool kids who actually help tutor other kids, whether it be other siblings in your home, people from church, or other youth events that they go to with them, children or teens who help tutor other children, it actually helps them to increase their own learning level and helps them to be able to focus back on their own studies. If your child is actually struggling in math and they help somebody who is at a lower level and help them tutor through like some of the more basic to them math, it actually can help them improve their own math. Like there's actually studies that show that a teen helping tutor helps them with their own studies as well. Moving on to year 4. And again, this is where we're looking more at actually earning money. So it's intern and apprentice. This is a brand new credit class. It's not a brand new class. It's not a new concept. The United States was founded on people bringing over apprentices and turning apprentices over when their shops whenever they were older or when they passed on. This is not a new concept. It's been around for years. But it is new to the homeschooling field of giving high school credit for intern and apprenticeship. And this is very, very, very simple. Intern and apprentice is supervised childcare. It's literally your child getting paid half of what they normally would get paid to babysit in a supervised setting. Now, I know we've already looked at right here all of these free or possible paid options right down here of things that your child can do. But again, this is more under child development. These programs are set up more to teach your child how to work with others while caring for children. This right here is like you're looking at a part-time job where you're getting paid half of the normal pay that you would receive in turn for being taught how to do this position. And this class is super, super simple. Any kind of intern apprenticeship class, the requirement in the state of Tennessee is 150 hours. I don't know how other states do it. I do know Tennessee. That's the basics of what I'm teaching here. This is just supervised childcare. There are more options once your child turns 18. Like if they turn 18 their senior year, there may be more options for that. But there usually are programs where they could work together with it. Again, there may be some mommy helper programs or homeschool families who are willing to pay your child to help assist them while the parents are in home. This is not unsupervised babysitting. This is, my child is being watched by another adult. My teen is being watched by another adult while they are caring for children. I already know what some of you may be thinking. Okay, well, that's not really an option in my area. I can't find one. Let's talk about an alternative class. If you cannot find a supervised childcare setting for your child, that's where this class right here comes in. Work experience. Work experience is, again, another class that in the state of Tennessee, you just simply need 150 hours to complete the class. And that right there is, I 100% have been through all the training I can teach my child on how to help care for children. They are old enough, they are mentally ready to take on the responsibility of caring for other people's children. I trust them, the parents trust them. Then you could, instead of intern apprentice, or the fun thing about work experience is you can actually repeat that class and still give your child credit for it. They could do it as a summer job, 2 summers in a row. If you don't want them working through the school year, they could do it after school. As long as they have 150 hours of babysitting, you can turn that in for work experience for your child's high school credit. And that is it for today's video. That is how you can take your child's passion for wanting to do babysitting or work with kids. If your child just really does really well working with kids and you want to give them credit for doing that, if they're already doing some of these things that we've already discussed, then you can take your child's passion for all of this and turn it into high school credit for your child. That is it for today's video. Thank you to all of our members for supporting this content and allowing us to continue making videos. Don't forget to click the join button below for more information on becoming a channel member. If you need this printed out as a PDF, which our members do receive as a thank you for supporting our channel. And if you cannot, then you guys just liking, watching, positive comments, and subscribing helps us to continue keeping this series free for all of you. And we will see all of you next time.